What's up, everyone? Dr. Dan here from Ozark MMJ Cards. I figured I'd try and do this. I always get so nervous before doing these live posts, and I really don't know why. I've gotten such a really good support from the medical cannabis community, especially in Arkansas. So I figured I'd post a video, really on the topic of how to manage mental health during the holidays. Because it's something that since I've started this business, I've noticed that a great high proportion, great majority of patients that I see are managing mental health issues, specifically anxiety and depression or PTSD and the symptoms that might come with it. Okay. And I'm a person who I get nervous before making a cup of coffee in the morning, so I can totally identify with that, with the managing of anxiety or depression, especially compounded with the holidays. The holidays are a super, super trying, very sensitive time because people are tasked with balancing a lot of competing demands. You know what I mean? People are hanging out with their families, but they still need to work and make money. And people want to do things with their families during the holidays. But a lot of the things that surround the holidays, let's say Thanksgiving dinner, requires buying the groceries and preparing them and cleaning up your house and all that stuff. But in order to pay for anything that we do, we're going to need to go to work. So we're always balancing these competing demands. And what can happen is when people are put into an acutely stressed period, as we saw with the University of Miami study, we'll post that soon. When people are tasked with an acutely stressful type event, they're bound to overuse, in my opinion, cannabis. All right. They're medical cannabis. Or if they're a recreational user, they'll probably use more if they're managing anxiety or depression in the holidays. Chances are they're going to use more. It's just one of these things that we see. So today I just wanted to talk about just some useful tips for how to get through the holidays if you're a medical cannabis patient. Okay. So here's the first thing. All right. Let's just take them in order. All right. Because I know Thanksgiving is going to be coming up, I think, in the next 2 weeks. All right. And then Christmas to follow about a month after that. All right. So what's going to happen, during, let's take Thanksgiving, you're going to have, you're going to have all this food to prepare. You're going to be, or someone else is going to be preparing it. You might or might not have that aunt or uncle or cousin or whoever who always brings up some political topic or some difficult topic at the dinner table. And it might get stressful, or someone might put you on the spot like, yeah, don't you use weed, you little naughty pothead. And they do all this foolishness, put you on the spot, make you feel uncomfortable. And I know when people are put into that position and they have that anticipation of a stressful event like that, and there's a whole lot of stuff going on, oftentimes because cannabis known to reduce stress, oftentimes what people are going to do, they're going to be hitting up that pipe or rolling a joint or yucky blunt, whatever. I say yucky because sort of anti-tobacco doctor, what do you expect? But really all that to say, what happens is people are going to be leaning into the cannabis more than what they normally would. And that's the thing that I wanted to lean into today, because I think it can set up a vicious cycle, because what's going to happen is it's going to run these people into tolerance issues. And by the time the holidays are over, they've gone from their regular use schedule. Let's say someone fires up 2 1-gram joints a day. All right. Let's say that's their baseline. All right. What'll happen, what you'll find happening during the holidays, they'll jack that up to maybe 3 or 4 joints a day, or doubling whatever their use is. They might increase it by double or 50% or something like that. And what'll happen is they're going to, plus it's winter, fall and going into winter. All right. Apart from the holidays, the seasonality of things really, and the managing of anxiety and depression and other mental health diagnoses, the management of that becomes trickier. Okay. Because people are inside more. The weather isn't as welcoming. You don't have as much sunlight to give you that great dose of vitamin D and lift the spirits up. So there's a lot of things at play here. There's the holidays, there's the weather, there's the somewhat social isolation aspect of it that could happen. Okay, and then there's the increased monetary demand, the increased financial demand in the end of the year when it's the most sensitive. And then people are starting off this new year more in debt, more stressed out from the holidays, and then having to start the new year on using more cannabis, having more tolerance. If you have more tolerance, you're going to spend more at the dispensaries. All right, which I'm sure makes the dispensaries happy. Nothing against them. They're often my partners. I try and do business with dispensaries because I put my business cards in there. So I try and promote for them. By the way, tip your bud tenders, folks. They work so hard. I love them. I love them. They make my life so simple. They give me suggestions on the best strains. I'm a big sativa guy, so they give me suggestions on the best strains. Right now, I'm really on the Mr. Clean. Thank you, the Hill Dispensary. Great bud tenders there. Sarah, Michael, Marla, Tabitha, Sam, all you guys are wonderful. If I forgot anyone, I apologize. But yeah, I'm on my Mr. Clean hit right now. Wonderful sativa. Haven't had any this morning. Okay, just as a side note, I'm not really huge into the wake and bake thing. No judgment. It's not for me. When I do the wake and bake thing, I think it just sort of puts me in a different mindset. I kind of like to wait until I wake up and I get some coffee in me before I do the wake and bake thing, because I don't want to get myself too dependent on that to get the motor moving and sort of to lubricate the mind joints before starting the day. But what I wanted to lean into, just sort of as since I've outlined the problem with regards to managing the mental health and just sort of the increased stressors, the points of increased stress. Let's get actually into the coping thing, because you're going to feel stressed and you're going to be in that situation because you're more stressed. You're going to lean into that familiar thing that which is either taking an edible or smoking your cannabis or vaping it or however you use it. So it's going to be your natural coping response that you've come accustomed to, that you're going to lean into because it's worked before. Okay. And what I'd like to stress to everyone here is not to do that. I know that's a bit of a simplistic suggestion, but here's the how not to do that. Okay. When you're faced with a stressful situation, and you know that the thing that you want to do the most is go and hit up your weed. What I'd love to stress to you guys, just maybe as an alternative or an adjunct, something that you can add on, for your coping mechanism. Take a walk. All right. No pre-walk joint. Okay. I'm not saying stop using your cannabis over the holidays. That's dumb. Okay. I'm not saying do that. Okay. What I'm suggesting is not to overuse, and the how to not to overuse is to insert some other low stress alternate activity where you can practice letting the mind wander and inserting some sort of calming activity that is not smoking cannabis or vaping cannabis or however you dose your cannabis. All right. And that's really just it could be one of many things. I can't really come up with every single idea that someone might do in lieu of using cannabis, but I'd at least like to raise the awareness of other things, other activities that you can do to occupy your mind, to physically separate yourselves from the stressful situations that might arise. It's really, and this is, I'll be the first to tell you, this is easier said than done. But at the end of the day, cannabis is like well, I don't want to say it's like any other drug, but like any other thing that we can use to ameliorate our symptoms. These things can be used in a smart amount, and they can be overused when dosed too highly. All right, this idea of tolerance is something that I'm always going to come back to, because I think it's important. Once we run into tolerance, that's the signal right there that we're using too much. We're starting to need an escalating dose to get the same effect. There's tolerance in lay terms. Okay, folks? So the thing that I'd love to stress to people is that if you're feeling stress during the holidays, or you feel depression surrounding an uncomfortable personal memory or experience, boy, you are not alone. Okay, that feeling of loneliness, and is this only me, and I feel like I'm on an island. Folks, you are not. I do this for a living, and I see the patients for a living, and there's just no end to the amount of patients, such a high proportion of patients who go through this sort of thing, especially during the holidays. And I think just sharing in that, and leaning into each other, and finding a good outlet for conversation, for activities, for other things surrounding our daily things that we're familiar with, that give us happiness. It could be playing the piano, or painting by numbers, or just simply taking a walk. Taking a walk is my favorite one. Okay. Or just sitting and meditating, which I know some people find difficult, but the more that you can separate yourself from the emotional attachment to your mind and body, then the better off you can be. The more that you can free your consciousness to absorb those emotions, okay, the better off you'll be. And when you finally come to some sort of equilibrium there, and you feel like you're a little bit calmer, and you can decide on the amount of weed that you're going to use, you're going to be a little bit better off. You know what I mean? The holidays are still going to stress you out. But once you can come to the realization that your emotional reactions to a situation, all right, is just your body's reaction to your mind, okay? Your body is not you. Your body is your spacesuit, okay? Your mind is not you. I know that's tough to swallow. Your mind is not you. You are just you and your consciousness. And I don't want to go off the deep end here, but your mind is just this thing that you own, or you rent for the time that you're alive, just like your body. Okay? So your mind and your body, these are things that you own, like your car, or your favorite book, or instruments, or other possessions. All right? Once you can come to that spot where you can realize that, okay, I'm just having my mind, my emotions are just having a reaction to the situations around me, and taking a hit is not going to make that exactly go away. Once you can come to that balance there, you'll feel a lot better off about choosing the situations in which you dose your cannabis. And if you can choose your situations more responsibly, and choose the activities that you're going to do before you dose your cannabis, or while you use after you've used your cannabis, while you're under the psychoactive effects, the better off you'll be, because you're going to have that confidence that you have an internal locus of control over what you do, and you're acting consciously. You're not reacting as a result of your body responding to your mind. So I just wanted to relate that to you guys. Love you guys so much. Dr. Dan, pleasure doing the live cast for you. You know, if you like the channel, like and subscribe, share it to your favorite group, share it with your friends, lean on each other. Y'all have a great day. Have a great holiday season. Bye-bye.